Hello and welcome everybody in. This is the X-Bomb Sports Live Show. I'm Drew Gwillem, and also known as your class president. And your class president says, "Sit down and shut up, Tom. Stop making noise." Okay, that's how we had to start before the show, so we might as well start the show with it as well.
Absolutely.
With me today, a little different, shaking things up a Wednesday because we
Yeah.
weren't here last week and we won't be here tomorrow.
No,
So I get to host today.
absolutely.
Lucky you. Also with me, Andrew Valentin, boss man himself.
How you doing?
I'm good. Yourself?
Been a long week.
Yeah.
It's about to be a lot longer.
Still
but
recovering?
a little bit. I'm still in. Something's in me. I hope it comes out soon. But it's there. But I'm feeling a lot better. I'm here. I'm ready to work. Ready to. I was missing this, and I was missing you, my friend. I was missing my Drew.
Aww. I don't know where else to go with that.
I was gonna.
Miss you guys too.
I was hoping you were gonna break into all I want for Christmas is Drew, but
Well, I'm trying to steer clear of the holiday season.
Yeah,
we are
yeah.
past that.
Well, we don't want to get copyrighted. God forbid.
Whatever. Facebook. Yeah. Guess
We
what?
will-
I'm gonna go have a double Whopper with cheese after this.
We will.
Is that allowed?
We will be testing that out in the future to see and make sure.
They
But-
still didn't tell us why. Huh?
No, I never got a clear
Yeah.
explanation.
So instead of emailing us about why the hell we can't get on Facebook, why don't you all try and email Mark Zuckerberg? Blow his trash up.
Please.
Get on him. Ask him why. Why isn't X-Bomb Sports allowed to stream live on here?
Yeah,
Is it because of the Whopper? Is it because of something else? Who knows? I don't.
because Drew is just too damn handsome looking.
He's jealous.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I am.
Oh, I'm Mark Zuckerberg. I wish I was a class president.
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry, can't do it. You're just a billionaire
No,
instead. Loser.
nerd.
Get those nerds. Anyways, we might be a little crunch for time today, so we're
Yeah.
just going to dive right in. There's
Let's
been
do it.
some fast and furious things happening in the NFL, like usual.
Has there ever?
And more to come. Next week starts free agency window will be open.
Whew.
But there are many teams. The franchise tag window has come and gone.
Yep.
We've seen a few players, pretty solid players, get tagged.
That's just yeah.
Some things that'll work out for teams and
Yeah.
some things that won't. Signings
Absolutely.
as well. But we're gonna jump right in with some of the big arms.
Yes.
We've had some big deals here. Okay?
Absolutely.
Starting with Saints and Derek Carr. We're basically the first team to secure their quarterback for next year.
Mhm.
Some people might argue that it's not really a big deal. I would say his contract says otherwise.
Yeah.
He has signed a 4-year, $150 million deal with $100 million in guarantees.
Mhm.
First look at the Derek Carr deal to the Saints. Do you like it? Dislike it? Do you think there was a better spot for him, or was this the right situation for him to go?
I
to?
love this. I think this is a great move because, first off, I want to say that I did call this. I mean, there was a lot of reports already saying he favored the Saints, it sounded like. But everybody was saying, no, the Jets, no, the Panthers. I was telling people, the Saints feel like the favorites. Don't look past them. They've got the weapons. They've got the draft picks. They've got the ability to build a good team. With Derek Carr right now, tell me with him at the quarterback position where they finished last year. They possibly can't get, 3 more wins from where they were at? 8 and 9 or something like that, right? 9 and 8. So they get 3 more wins. They're around like 10 and 7, 11 and 6. They're probably winning that division. And Kyle Trask is going to be that kind of quarterback?
Nope.
I have questions on that. Atlanta is a maybe, but Desmond Ridder has to take a huge step for that to happen, and the defense has to be superb.
And David will be thankful that they've already come out and said they're out on Lamar Jackson.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
I'm sure he was doing a little Irish jig.
Actually, he was starting to come around to it, and he said he would give it a year. But
If you're going to trade what you have to trade 2 first-round picks to
That's-
get him,
yeah.
you have to.
you have to sign him
it's
for
not
the
gonna
money
work.
and give the 2 first rounders. I mean, we're gonna get to it, but
Yes.
no, it's not gonna happen. And then you got Carolina, which they're still trying to figure out their quarterback thing. A lot of players, but you don't know. So I like Derek Carr to the Saints. I mean, this is a no-brainer, like easy hit. The problem is that the Saints still have to clear out cap space. That's their biggest issue. So who's gonna get let go? Who's gonna get traded? I think they gotta look to trade Kamara. I think they gotta look to dump Michael Thomas. and redraft at those positions and
Okay, well
fill in the
then,
box.
what weapons do they have aside from Olave?
Out of Olave, I mean, I think that's where they're going to need to go into the draft and go into free agency and start, unfortunately, dumping, like Jacoby Myers would be, I think, a good pickup for a slot receiver, drafting another guy to be a number 2.
Right.
Next to, I mean, this is a good draft with some good wide receivers where you can find them, right? A Cedric Tillman from Tennessee or Jalen Hyatt, possibly, to join with Olave. That's a nice 1-2 combo for a young team, but you got Derek Carr for 4 years. Something to grow with.
Right. I think getting rid of Kamara would be a bad move for this team. What he provides,
It's a tough one.
I know there's some legal issues with him going forward, so not exactly sure where that's going to end up. But
it's not even that. The cost that he has right now on his price tag is huge.
right,
and that's a problem.
Yes, being in cap hell that they've been in for seems like multiple years now.
Yeah, for like the last 5 years.
One of the teams that has had the biggest cap struggle for an extended period of time.
Oh, man.
So I think that's going to be the biggest problem for them is trying to get in that position where they are under the cap.
Yeah.
And to still have weapons for Carr.
Right.
And so going forward, yes, the draft I think is where they're going to have to find maybe another running back, maybe another wide receiver. That defense is fine.
Absolutely. You can't touch that defense.
Really,
it's too good.
Unless there's players that are making too much money on that side of the ball that they have to consider trading. I would hope that for them, for their sake, not to have to just cut a player like that.
Right. Well, they're already talking about like having guys take salary cuts so they can rework things. I know they converted some stuff into signing bonus and all that stuff to clear out more cap space, but that's a difficulty they're in right now.
Yeah. So it's going to take a lot of movement from them to try and get some more pieces around Carr that can make that offense more of a winning offense.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I think it was a good move for them. For what's out there, not going to be able to move up in the draft really to get somebody. I think this was a good decision for them.
Absolutely, and you can still get your future quarterback later in the draft.
Exactly.
I've heard a lot of people talk about it'd be a hard shot, but Stetson Bennett going there. I mean, small guy, but a good arm, decent player. We'll get into that draft stuff, but I'm just saying, like, you still have that chance to find your backup in the near future.
Very true. Now, one of the best stories in the NFL of last year and now going into this year with the deal, Seahawks have re-signed Geno Smith for 3 years, $105 million deal, $52 million he'll be making in 2023.
Yep,
a big chunk of his contract, and congratulations, dude.
Absolutely.
You earned the hell out of this contract.
That's earning your money.
There was talk about, they might move up in the draft if they can't get a deal done with him.
Right.
And a few days later, it seems like we have a deal done. Geno Smith is our guy.
Yeah.
From top first-round draft pick with the Jets to basically almost out of the league completely. And now being back as a starter with a team who is like, you're going to be our fill-in guy until we find the next guy to lead our team at the quarterback position.
Probably the best bridge quarterback right now, other one, Jimmy Garoppolo, maybe.
He played out of his mind. It's just anybody who's watched the NFL over the years and seen where he was to where he's at now. Yeah, it's really amazing comeback for him.
Oh, it's a great story, and that's why winning comeback player of the year.
Yeah,
easy one. And by the way, too, just to let you know, folks, he was not a first-round pick. He was picked in the second round in the 2013 draft. There was only one quarterback picked in the first round there. Do you know who that was?
In the 2013 draft.
Yeah, he was picked by Buffalo. He came out of Florida State after Christian Ponder.
Oh, my God.
You want me to tell you?
Yeah.
E.J. Manuel.
Oh, that's right.
Because Buffalo thought he had more potential than Geno Smith, so they took E.J. over. I remember that clearly, and everyone thought, this is a great move, and E.J. did nothing.
Well, to be honest, they were both wrong because neither one of them panned out until Geno Smith now.
Well, Geno finally got with a team, and that's why I'm so happy they re-signed him. It was a given choice that Pete Carroll was going to do this, but it gives you consistency. Again, it lets you draft your future later on while you have security. You paid him up front, that $52 million right up front, allows you to have more cap space down the line, which is great. It's a smart move. The Seahawks are I'm saying this. I think they're back on target now, getting themselves into that position where it's like, look, the 49ers are going to be dominant, but we're going to be right there with them.
And pretty safe to say that Russell Wilson was the problem, not Pete Carroll and everyone else.
I think so. I take back all the bad words I said about Pete Carroll and the Seahawks. I apologize. I was wrong. They clearly had a Wilson problem, but they've gotten rid of that, and now that's Sean Payton's issues.
And I am extremely, extremely thankful that the Bears didn't give up a ton to get him, and they didn't accept that deal.
Yeah, it's very dodged
thankful.
a real bullet there.
Yeah, big time. Big
or a
time.
cannonball if you want.
Yeah. That's the one. The one that goes flying through, skims off the ground, and takes both your legs out with it.
Right.
Yeah.
And then it explodes.
Yeah. Very much so. So congratulations, Geno Smith.
Absolutely.
You earned it big time.
Absolutely. I can't wait to see what he does next season.
Yeah. Now on to somebody who may not have totally earned it. I mean, your play was better.
That's an understatement.
Yeah, I don't really know, but the Giants have re-signed Daniel Jones for 4 years, $160 million, $82 million in guarantees. I know the way this contract kind of works out, it's basically a 2-year deal.
Yeah.
41
Yeah.
per year, basically.
More or less.
More or less, that's what it is. After those 2 years, they can move on if they want. But
which is a weird contract that they
exactly.
Yeah.
Like, I'm kind of at a loss here. Do you have anything to say about this deal?
You too can be a star quarterback worth $160 million if you just throw 15 touchdowns. I think it's about consistency for them. He clearly showed that at times there is some stuff. The problem is that when you watch him against teams like Dallas or Philadelphia or those teams that are going to clearly give him some trouble, he was just kind of like either in the middle or like just above average. And then obviously the playoff game against the Eagles, he looked awful. Like he was a tackling dummy sitting there, and they were just like, "Hassan, go get him." Like that was the whole game. So I think
for as good as they looked against Minnesota,
right,
and then the Eagles, but I think there's the different monsters.
No, absolutely.
So
like Eagles, you're talking about a full force of a defense that's going after you. Minnesota,
non-existent.
The defense for Minnesota is not terrible, but it's nowhere near what it was about 5-6 years ago.
Their passing defense is terrible.
Absolutely. So when you're able to throw to Richie James and all these other guys pretty consistently, I mean, of course, it makes a lot of sense that you're going to look a lot better in that game. But I think this is about getting a guy who's consistent, a guy that Daboll trusts. I thought that, I mean, it was a long shot. I thought the Giants should just pass on Daniel Jones and draft somebody like Anthony Richardson. Because I felt
not
like
anymore. That dude's flying up the.
No, I know, but I thought that would be a move that they could pull off because that's a quarterback. If that's a system you're going to be running with for a while until you get something in place, and it's a young arm, better arm, I would say, than Daniel Jones.
Yeah.
I mean, not as accurate, but I think you can teach that. I hope the guy's coachable. I think he is. We'll see. But I just felt like he's a fast quarterback. You've got Saquon now on the franchise tag. That's a 1-2 punch that you would want in the backfield. I know Jones can run. But man, the guy looks really awkward when he runs. Like he looks like a basketball player trying to play football.
And he trips on
and he trips on grass or whatever.
Grass when he's got a wide open field in front of him.
Yeah. So I think this is just a thing about we don't want to lose the guy. We'd rather keep him because there's consistency there. Otherwise, I couldn't tell you what else you could find in there other than we went 9-8 with the guy. But he's no better than Ryan Tannehill, I would say, at this point. And I that's where I'm at, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I put him in that category just myself.
I think Daniel Jones is a better runner, and he's produced more at being able to do that.
Yeah.
So he's done better, and I think he was around 750 yards with maybe 7 rushing touchdowns over last year. I think it was somewhere around there. And that's the bigger thing for me, what I see when I see – yes, I would say improved throwing with Daboll for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think with that, actually finally getting a coach who can actually coach this guy up and teach him the position a little more. Mm-hmm. Because let's face it, Daniel Jones shouldn't have come in and started day one. He shouldn't have.
No.
He should have been the guy that sat for a year at least, had time to learn, and then you throw him out there.
Yeah,
and see what he can do.
As soon as he jumped into the starting lineup with that Giants team, the way that they were, you kind of knew like things are probably going to be, especially when you're talking about his coach being Joe Judge. that was kind of, it was all set up for like failure at that point.
This deal's not getting done without their head coach saying, "Yeah, I can do this."
I can work with him.
I would like to have him around. And then as far as the deal goes, it's just what quarterbacks make.
Yeah.
Now, this is the going rate for a quarterback who you think can help you win games.
Absolutely.
And I do believe that you add some more pieces around Daniel Jones, that he'll be able to help you win games. There's going to be times where I feel like he's going to harm your team and not do what you'd hope he would do.
Yeah.
But I think another offseason with Dable, another full season with him, coaching him up, getting some more weapons, I think it'll work out okay.
Yeah.
I understand them wanting to get this deal done so they could tag Barkley and not have to just throw him the bag.
Right.
Because, face it, paying running backs isn't a thing that you want to do these days.
I mean, we're going to get to it, but obviously you got Tennessee, who's, if nobody knows, they're looking to trade Derrick Henry right now. Like
take on that big contract.
Which I thought was funny because Rand Carthen came out with a statement saying like, oh, there are a lot of passing in the beginning of the season, but real football gets played in December and January, and you run the football and play good defense, and then immediately after that, Derrick Henry's on the trading block. So you see where the league's going.
Right.
You see where the league's going, which all of a sudden I would say to Rand Carthen, why are you saying Ryan Tannehill's your quarterback? Oh, because you can't trade that contract. That's right. I'm sorry. I forgot. But yeah, our guy, by the way, puppy brother, our man Jake, he says $40 million a year for Jones is an absolute joke. I don't blame him for wanting the money. Mediocre quarterbacks get paid way too much. Agreed. But that's the going market. That's the problem. And part of that problem is Cleveland paid a quarterback a fully guaranteed contract, which just screwed the system.
Yeah, and I don't think teams are going to be willing to do that.
Nope.
So this is what you have to pay for a quarterback. It may not be right. It may not be what Giants fans had hoped for.
Yeah.
But this is your guy, at least for the next 2 years.
Yeah.
And we'll see what they do going forward.
2 years after that, Arch Manning comes. Oh, God, are they planning to draft another Manning?
Well, we'll find out.
Yeah.
He may be their starter. All right. Now.
We can make this quick.
Yeah. I'm so tired of this guy. Look at me. Look at me. My name's Aaron Rodgers. Everybody, come see me. Let's talk about me.
Yeah.
My name's Aaron. When?
There it is.
Everybody wants to see me.
I love it.
They come to see me. Everybody talk about me. I'm tired of him. I'm so tired of him.
I'm tired of him,
Make up your
too.
damn decision.
I know.
And let's hear it. Be done with it.
Yeah.
I'll have my decision after my 4 days in the dark.
Didn't even spend 4 days.
Didn't even spend 4 days in the dark. That time has come and passed.
Yeah.
And we still have no decision.
Nope.
Well, Aaron Rodgers met with the New York Jets in New Jersey yesterday.
Yes.
The whole brass, all of them.
Everybody was there.
Now, whether that's to try and entice him to come, I don't think they do all of that unless they really think they have a shot at him going there.
Yeah.
As far as the reports go, the Packers would likely okay Rodgers to leave.
Yeah, absolutely.
But their value for him might be a little too much.
Yes.
I think them wanting 2 first-round picks could drop to a first and a second depending.
Mm-hmm.
I think 2 first-round picks is way too much to ask for him at this point.
Yeah, he's almost 40 years old at this point.
Plus the contract.
Yeah, plus the contract. You got to pay him $45 million or whatever. Unless the Packers are like, we'll take on half of that, which I assume they would probably have to.
I think that was part of the talks was.
It's got to be part of the deal.
That's the only way that's going to work out is if the Packers eat some of that deal.
Yeah. I think, look, in terms of him going to the Jets, I think that because we were talking about this on Blow the Whistle and like David said, well, why doesn't he go to Tampa Bay? And I think it's part of the problem with Aaron is obviously he's an egotistical guy. He's arrogant. And he has two options at this point. And it would be stay in Green Bay and continue to follow in the shoes of Brett Favre, which, by the way, going to the Jets, you're still following in the shoes of Brett Favre. But those aren't considerably as big as, say, Tom Brady's in Tampa, where first year in, you win a Super Bowl. Expectations are a little bit less in New York than they would be in Tampa. So the Jets make perfect sense. And I think his ego and his arrogance believes that he can go into New York and, like, conquer it.
It being New York,
Yeah.
I think the expectations are always high, even when
no,
their team
absolutely.
is terrible. So,
Absolutely. But with the Jets compared to Tampa, I think there's a little bit of a lopsided difference where Tampa's got weapons. The Jets are just building something, you know?
I see that to an extent because the Jets have weapons too.
That's true. That's true. They
just
do.
haven't been able to get to a lot of
Yes.
them.
And they're young weapons, we have to remember. And
that they are. But,
Rodgers don't like those young guys.
Well, but that's the thing. They do have some guys on that team that have been around the block for a little bit.
Yep.
A few years in,
Mm-hmm.
that the Jets didn't use much.
Yeah.
Okay. Now maybe those guys become more of Aaron's favorites.
Yeah.
And then while getting a very nice young rookie in Wilson
Yes, absolutely.
at the receiver position, who's looks like he that'll be a seamless transition for Rodgers out there.
Yeah.
I don't think it's one of those rookies that or young players that goes out there and he'd have a lot of issues with.
Right.
So I think that's the kind of guy who's proven it in college, proven it in his rookie year that he can be one of the top players at his position in this league. Rodgers going to love that guy.
Yeah. No, I mean, he could get along. It's hard to tell because it's hard to get a read on the guy, obviously.
Right.
I mean, we've talked about this guy for how long and how do you like you don't know what he's going to do.
Right.
And that's the biggest problem with this is that nobody knows what he's going to do except for Pat McAfee because he's the only guy he ever talks to.
Well, I think the Jets are starting to move some contracts around already to try and probably free up some space to try and get this guy.
Oh, absolutely.
I think both sides have somewhat of an understanding of what's going to happen.
Yeah.
It's just Karen's going to drag this out as much as he can.
Everybody look at me.
Yeah, so everybody's looking at him.
God.
Attention whore. You are an attention whore.
You're not wrong.
Yeah. Usually, like, don't people, like, somewhat like those people a little bit sometimes? I don't think there's too many people that really like this
guy. No, not even Packers fans really like this guy that much anymore.
Yeah. Oh, I think Packers fans are done with him. I think the Packers front office is done with him.
Yeah, yes.
If he comes out and says, I'm going back to the Packers should just literally be like, no, we're done with you.
Yeah, we'll cut you.
Yeah.
We'll take on the dead cap.
Yeah, I don't think that's happening. But I'm only hoping that this decision comes soon and we can finally move on from this soap opera.
Yeah,
that is Aaron Rodgers.
That would be nice.
Yes.
And then move on to the one about him and the Jets.
Oh, well, speaking of the Jets, they could also trade for this guy.
Mm-hmm.
They have to probably give up more, but there's been a game of tag, if you will.
Yes.
And Lamar's it. They have placed the exclusive franchise tag on Lamar Jackson. So just so people have a little bit of an understanding, the exclusive tag comes with a price of 2 first-round picks if you want to trade for him.
Yep.
And he has the option to go find his value elsewhere.
Right.
He's allowed to go out and talk to teams, figure out if they want him and what they're willing to pay for him and what kind of contract they would give him. See what your value is out there. That's why the Ravens did this. So he could go out, see what, because he wants a fully guaranteed deal like Deshaun Watson got.
Yeah.
Teams don't want to give anybody that anymore.
No.
So they place this exclusive tag on him so he can go out and find out what his value is elsewhere. And then the Ravens have the opportunity to match it, or another team has to give up 2 first-round picks for him.
Yeah.
His tag hit will be $32.41 million if he stays. So it's either You come play for us for a year for $32 million.
Right.
Hope you don't get hurt again.
Yeah.
Or work out a long-term deal.
Right.
What do you think ultimately is going to happen with Lamar Jackson? Is he going to stay in Baltimore? Will he play out this 1 year out?
Mm-hmm.
Or is he going to realize, hey, my value isn't quite what I thought it was? Keep in mind, he's doing all this without an agent.
Right.
So do you think that's going to get worked out with the Ravens? Is he going to realize he's not worth as much as he thinks? Or is he going to play elsewhere?
The problem is that obviously, like you said, the Deshaun Watson thing, which isn't on Lamar Jackson, right? It's on the Browns, but the Browns have now set the quarterback market. And obviously, when you look at Lamar, he's got an MVP, he's got Pro Bowls, he's got all that stuff. He's got a winning record as a quarterback. The problem, though, that happens with Lamar Jackson is that you look at the history of running quarterbacks, it's very limited. Now, I know they says he wants to go into more of a passing attack. Well, that's not really what you do very well. That's the problem. You want an MVP being the running quarterback who threw for 3,000 yards, but he still ran for like almost 1,200 yards of offense. Like, let's not lose perspective. You've been hurt the last 2 years. There's a possibility that you might have even sat out this last year because you were just like, I don't want to get myself hurt so I can make more of my money. At this point, I think the Ravens are tired of it. They want to try and say, look, here's your deal. Let's work something out. Otherwise, if we can't work something out, we're going to trade you, and you can go find something else. And the problem is you've got Falcons, Dolphins, Panthers, Raiders, and Commanders, all who have said pretty much we're not interested.
Immediately
upon
Once that tag
loading,
was thrown on him, they came out.
We're done.
Yep.
We're out of here.
I don't even think they got up off the toilet.
No,
they didn't
probably.
even wipe yet. They just made the phone call.
They weren't done.
Yeah.
But you got to ask yourself, are you willing to not only pay the man his contract or something close to it, I would have to assume, and trade 2 first-round picks for the guy? That's the problem. It's not one or the other. If it's one or the other, totally understandable. Now you have to do both. No team wants to pay and, oh, by the way, trade picks. Who did that? Oh, Cleveland did that. How'd that work out for them? I mean, we'll find out, but right now it ain't looking great for them. And publicly and business-wise.
And the talks of collusion.
Absolutely.
All that.
I mean, it's a mess.
Who knows? This story is wild.
Ugh.
And it's going to continue on.
We're not done.
Yeah. Through free agency. Who knows? Who knows how long this can take?
I think this deal won't get done until we see more of what happens in free agency. Once we start seeing the deals that get done, you'll start seeing possibly who will move for Lamar Jackson. That's just me.
I think something like this you have up until right before the draft.
Yes.
Or during the draft to figure that out. Like we may see on draft night, this team has traded first-round pick for Lamar Jackson, and then you'll hear the rest of the details in the trade come later.
Yeah.
But that, to me, is like that's your end date.
Yeah.
You have to figure this out before the draft. Otherwise,
come draft night, everybody's looking for their quarterback.
Exactly. If you're trading first-round picks, they're going to want it this year.
Yeah.
Not next year. Well, they're going to want one next year, too.
Right.
But
I think they're hoping. I'm honestly saying this because I said this to somebody. I think this is their hope that like the Texans will come biting for a ready now quarterback so that they can get 2 and 15, draft their quarterback, and add a weapon to their offense. So then they can say like, okay, we're starting over fresh. That's what I think they're hoping for, honestly. Because otherwise, Seattle doesn't need it, and Philly sure don't need it. So where else do you go?
It's going to be tough, but
yeah.
They have a lot of wheeling and dealing to do to actually figure out how do they get closer to this $100 million they're apart on this deal.
Absolutely.
Which
that's going to be tough.
Thanks a lot. Again, stupid Deshaun Watson and the stupid Cleveland Browns.
It's going to be interesting to see what happens with these younger quarterbacks.
Screwing things up for the league.
Yeah. Trevor Lawrence, and if Justin Fields keeps on that pedal, like that's going to be hard decisions made for both those teams. So
I started yelling at somebody I wasn't yelling at him, but somebody at the gym said, talking about Fields he's a running quarterback. And I'm like, stop saying that. I was like, Fields is not a running quarterback. Just because he ran last year doesn't mean he's a running quarterback.
Yeah, he was a running quarterback for that season.
Then he backpedaled. Yeah. And then
he was a running quarterback for that season.
I'm going to jump all over everybody. Anybody who wants to say it, I'm going to jump all over you.
Let's see what happens next year. Hope for the best.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
You eat your crow.
I know.
We're gonna
Attack me.
serve you up some squab.
I'm just saying, let's wait till next season.
Okay, fine. Well, along with Lamar Jackson's tag, there's just the regular franchise tag.
There is.
And there are a few players that have gotten that tag.
Absolutely.
Basically starting with Evan Ingram
Mm-hmm.
for the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Yeah.
The day has come and gone, and he was basically the first one to get tagged.
Mm-hmm.
We've got Evan Ingram for Jacksonville, Tony Pollard for Dallas.
Yeah.
And a lot of these come with, we're going to tag you in hopes that we can work out a long-term deal.
They're trying to get long-term deals done because they think these guys are certainly franchise players.
And if they don't tag them, then they become free agents, and it makes things a little more difficult. They want to keep these guys where they're at.
Yes.
You're ours, and then we're going to talk to you more about getting a deal done.
Absolutely.
So we have Tony Pollard, Evan Ingram from Jacksonville, Washington, which I was hoping the Bears were going to get, but Washington D-tackle Daron Payne. Las Vegas has tagged their leading rusher from last year, Josh Jacobs, and like we stated earlier, Saquon Barkley from the Giants.
Yep.
I'm sure Barkley was hoping for more money other than the 10-something million. Boo-hoo.
Yeah.
$10 million for a year. Wah.
Sorry, no Christian McCaffrey contract.
Wah frickin' wah. But out of these tags, do you like these tagged players? Do you think any of these guys are gonna work out with a long-term deal for their teams, or is it gonna be hey, you're 1 year and then you may be gone, or these teams might try and trade these players come deadline?
I do. I like all these tags. I think these were all smart tags, right? I mean, Saquon, I understand you're not making your money, but look, it's like a make or break year for you, right? You had a great year last year. Do it again consistently, and then let's talk about a contract, right?
And
I think that's more the plan.
I feel like he's kind of slowed up some
a little
throughout
bit
the season.
Yeah.
But, he spent so much time not playing.
Yeah, and when teams are keying on you like crazy, like they were towards the end of the season, they're like, well, we know where the ball's going. So obviously that's tough. I love the Tony Pollard one because that to me says that all right, Zeke is cut. I think from what I heard is the post June cuts is the plan because he was it like 20 million or something like that.
Yeah.
Like it's a I almost dropped one there. It's a ton of money.
Yeah,
a ton of money for him to come off. Obviously, Ingram, love it. Keeps a consistent weapon around for your quarterback. Great top 10 tight end last year in numbers, so I like it.
Yeah, he did. He had another comeback kind of player.
Yeah, he could have been comeback player of the year too.
Struggled with a ton of injuries.
Yeah.
And
didn't fit the system according to Joe Judge, and then
a big athletic tight end who can catch the ball. I know he's had issues with drops in the past.
Yeah.
That wasn't a problem last year.
No, well
He was a go-to guy, and he was a very reliable player.
That's the thing is that just real quick in New York, it was half blocker, half pass catcher. Make him a full-time pass catcher. Oh wow, he puts up some numbers, doesn't he? Yeah, because he's catching the football. That's what he's good at. Yeah. So I love that move. Daron Payne, I agree. Would have been nice for the Bears to get him. It's unfortunate, but that defense needs somebody up front in the middle, and he's their guy. So I like that. And as far as Josh Jacobs is unbelievably good.
Yeah.
Like he took that step that I think the Raiders were like, well, we're not picking up your fifth-year option. Okay, I'm just going to go off then.
Yeah.
Like I don't know if he's going to consistently do that, but this obviously puts the Raiders in a good position where it's like, all right, does the quarterback need to be great this year? No. But we got a running back, and that'll be the support. So I like all these franchise tags. I thought they were all good.
Yeah, I'm with you. And Pollard one for me is a big deal because he was awesome last year. Yeah. He is a stud player at that position.
He's like an everything. He's a running back, receiver, a blocker. He does it all.
And like you said, post June 1st cuts, it's the start of the new league year.
Yeah.
So when the league year restarts, these players cutting them then is more beneficial to the team. They save more money in cap space. So
yeah, like the Saints have their whole thing with Winston. If they cut him after June, they save $14 million.
There's going to be a lot of players falling under that category.
Oh, yeah.
So you're going to see a lot of these players post June 1st, like June 2nd, as soon as they can. They're going to be out.
Absolutely.
Now, as far as some players who are already out, who have already gotten the boot.
Mhm.
So because they know they haven't been able to re-sign these players, haven't come up with a long-term deal, and their money's just going to be too much of a cap hit going forward.
Yeah.
These are players that were able to be cut immediately, and that was best for the team.
I'll say all except for one I put on this list. Which was
there's
Jones.
Yeah. Well, there's one player who is just kind of obvious, Carson Wentz. But I'll just run down it's a little bit longer of a list, but Arizona wide receiver, I'm going to call him Robbie Anderson still because
he changed his name to Chosen.
His name has been chosen to be chosen.
Yes. And yet he was cut.
Yeah, you're not chosen by anyone.
Nope.
So, yeah. I don't know what else. That's just weird.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know it's a weird one.
Arizona center Hudson, Atlanta quarterback Mariota, Cleveland safety Johnson III, Detroit D-line Brockers. Man, there's a lot.
There's a lot of names on here. Yeah.
Kenny Clark. We've got Miami's cornerback Jones, Minnesota linebacker Kendricks, Kenny Galladay.
Yeah. Shocker.
Again, thankful the Bears didn't get him in his high price. Linebacker. He's the size of a linebacker, but he's Tampa Bay running back Leonard Fournette, who he's gonna catch on with somebody.
Somebody's gonna pick him up.
Somebody's gonna pick him up.
Still got some good in him.
He's got a lot of juice left in the tank,
he does.
and he's done nothing but improve his game since people were saying, he's a bust.
Yeah. No, he's been great
after his good rookie year.
Yeah.
Another Tampa Bay cut, Cameron Brate at tight end, Tampa Bay left tackle Smith, Tennessee linebacker Cunningham, Tennessee edge but Dupree, Tennessee tackle Luan, Tennessee wide receiver Woods, and the big old himself, Carson Wentz.
Yep. A lot of guys. And these are, by the way, the top names that I found. There's a bunch more that were cut that I didn't want to mention. Like the Titans have cut now 7 players, including their kicker, Randy Bullock.
Just some of the big names there.
Yeah.
And, Frank Clark.
I was going to say, there's names in here that are going to get other shots. Frank Clark was good in Seattle.
Sure.
Signed the big contract with Kansas City. Lifted him up to a Super Bowl championship a couple of times now. I think injuries and a little bit of his motor might be dying off, but new place, new resurgence in his life.
Veteran presence to add to maybe a young defense.
Say in Chicago.
Maybe.
It's a good point. I was saying either Chicago or Detroit, I think, might take a run at him because Detroit's looking for another edge rusher to add right there with Aiden Hutchinson. And what better than a veteran presence to add to the young guy?
Exactly. To a team who's probably going to be drafting a defensive player right off the bat.
I would say so.
That would make probably
either that
sense.
Or they're really going to go after another wide receiver and load that wagon.
I don't think so. That'd be a poor move. They need to add more with Aiden Hutchinson.
Yeah. Well, they really need a DB, but where they're at right now. Yeah. Where they're at right now, they'd be getting somebody special and load that defensive line. Other than that, other guys, I mean, I'm going to say this. I like what TJ said, though. Carson Wentz in Carolina just makes too much sense.
Oh, my God.
It just makes too much sense. He goes wherever Frank Clark goes, man.
Why?
I think I feel like Frank Wright will call him up and be like, all right, you want to come to Carolina? And you're in a 3-quarterback battle with Corral and Darnold.
Well, I don't know. I don't understand why he would want to.
That's the only place I could see him go. I don't know where else he could go at this point.
And then he's like, "Oh, there's various things I could do to help a team win. Like,
of course,
hold clipboards, give them water. Because you clearly can't do it on the field.
He could convert to tight end and Logan Thomas.
Right. He would be the quarterback I throw out there. All right. It's 4th and 1, 3rd and 1. We're just gonna hammer you up the middle and use you as a big body.
Yeah, just go in low and just sneak over the middle, man. Come on.
Other than that, I've got nothing for Carson Wentz.
Yeah,
I think his days are numbered in the NFL.
Absolutely.
Maybe as a backup, he'll
get a job
prolong
as a backup,
his career
I'm sure.
somewhere. But
yeah, I mean, other than that, Byron Jones, the knee sound shot. Donovan Smith and Taylor Lewan are interesting, but Lewan says he might retire, and Donovan Smith, injuries with his legs have been the problem there. So, and that's part of the issue is a lot of these guys, if it's not injury, it's lack of production. That's the reason why these guys have been cut.
Well, and again, like some of these players, change of scenery, going to a new place, that lack of production may be due to a piss poor scheme or a piss poor coaching staff or just a piss poor team in general.
Yeah.
So getting new options elsewhere may revitalize themselves and their careers. So I think there's a lot of players in here who can still do some things.
Oh, absolutely.
Given the right scenario.
Absolutely. And this helps the free agent class for those teams like the Bears or like, the Texans or whoever are going to try and flush out the team more. So keep an eye on some of these guys because I guarantee some of them maybe even go back to old teams. I heard Pittsburgh's possibly talking about bringing back Bud Dupree.
Yep.
So, I mean,
worked out well for him when he was there before.
Yeah.
So.
And Zach Cunningham all of a sudden's like, D'Amico Ryans in Houston did play there once before. So everybody's talking about possibly going back. You never know. You never know.
I'm so excited for free agency to hit.
Oh, next week, buddy. We're going to have a ball.
Next week.
We're going to have fun.
Bombs are going to be dropping all over the place.
Oh, yeah. By the time we start our show, we'll know some stuff.
Yeah.
And it'll be a fun one to talk.
Well, moving on to the next.
Yep.
We are going to forego our break. I don't even know if we really have time to get into too much of this. I don't.
We'll see if the man pops up.
I don't see anyone staring at us through the glass. So we're going to jump into some nonsense, some stupid things that have happened in the NBA, and then move on to some college basketball if time allows for it. But we have probably one of my favorite players to watch right now in the league, most exciting players to watch in the league right now, John Morant. Okay. Has been suspended for 2 games by the NBA for an Instagram video that shows him with a gun.
Yeah.
Why? After already having issues for supposedly punching a teenager.
Yeah, 17-year-old.
A 17-year-old multiple times and then threatening him with a gun.
Yeah.
Supposedly. Guys, I'm going to say, I've said it before, and I'm going to come back and say it again.
Mm-hmm.
No matter what you think of professional athletes and what you think of these guys, they are not role models. Again, a guy coming out who you thought, this dude seems like, by all accounts, a really good dude.
Yeah.
And now he's punching a 17-year-old on a basketball court multiple times and threatening him with a gun. And then he's seen with a gun at a club.
Mm-hmm.
Posted on his Instagram story.
Yeah.
Like, what are we doing? What are we doing? Do you not know that all eyes are on you as a professional athlete constantly?
Right.
And then you're dumb enough to post this somewhere. So they investigated this incident.
Mm-hmm.
The police have investigated this incident from the nightclub. And they have not found enough evidence to convict him of any wrongdoings or to proceed forward with this.
Yes.
Doesn't matter. You still had a gun.
Right.
You still had a gun, and
it's still your IG live. It's
exactly.
Still you on camera waving around a weapon in a nightclub. And even though he wasn't charged, obviously he'll still be missing the 4 games and everything. Now it sounds like he's going to step away from the team.
All eyes are on you in general, and now even more eyes are on you.
Absolutely. I honestly, for me, I look at this situation and I'll say right off the forefront, I think this is a situation where possibly fame combined with the people around you just all came together and it just became a mess because I don't know much of his background, unfortunately, when it comes to Ja. I know he comes from good family life. He's got a family that's got sports background and everything. But considering, I think about, considering that we're coming off of a week where we were just talking about Jalen Carter's situation in Georgia. And then obviously you've got the Brandon Miller situation going down in Alabama. I know he wasn't the shooter, but he gave the gun to Darius Miles' former teammate who then shot and killed the woman.
And then to have him get pat down as a joke
during
player when they're announcing the starting lineups.
Yeah.
That's a joke.
Yeah.
That coach should have ripped him off the floor, both those players, and told them get the hell off my court.
You can't make a mockery of this thing. Like, come on, guys.
Somebody died, okay?
Yeah.
And this is how they're gonna choose to go about it.
Right. You can't treat that kind of situation like that at all. You can't do that.
Yeah. It's a sad joke of a story, and again, professional athletes are not role models. I don't care how good of a person you think they are, how much good you think they do in the community. Guess what? All that might be a cover.
Mm-hmm.
Clearly, it was for Deshaun Watson. I hope it's not trending that way for John Morant, a guy who's basically built himself up from. He was basically nobody really knew him until the tournament.
Yeah,
and then he was this guy that came out of nowhere and was just lifting his team up above all else.
Yeah, it's a shame that this happened, but he apologized. I understand that that's just an apology. It can mean whatever it means, but I think John Morant's one of these guys that at least we can look at and say there's something that he can certainly learn from and he can grow from. There's other players where you can easily look at it and say it'd be more difficult for them because, maybe they're not that kind of player. I feel like Ja's more of a little bit more of a sincere player. I don't know him personally. So. I don't think we can say that I can say that full-heartedly.
Never
but I think
can
that
tell.
You never know. But I think that he can be a guy that's like, I made a bad mistake. He's in that mindset where I'm famous. I'm trying to deal with this. I'm not sure how to exactly work all this out. I'm around the wrong people. I hope that's the case, because if this was him actually making that decision, then that might become a problem a lot later down in life as he gets older.
And only time will tell on that, unfortunately. We have to basically wait and see how his life's going to play out.
Yep.
And guess what? We're all going to see it because, again, you're in the public eye constantly.
Yeah, and you're a star.
Yeah.
You're a superstar.
Yeah, very much so. It's looking like we are going to have to cut this one off and save some of the college conference tournaments for another time, and we'll be getting to the tournament even more coming up soon.
It's March Madness, baby.
Yeah. Well, thanks
Absolutely.
again. Always fun to be up here hosting and doing this show.
It's good to have you hosting, Drew. I'm glad I could be able to do it.
Real quickly, tell everybody where they can find you.
Absolutely, guys. Boom Crew Captain on Instagram is where you can mostly find me, at @TheFuffy on Twitter. I'm always here with X-Bomb Sports. I'm doing the blow the whistle thing. I'm doing it on radio and TV, so come check us out. And, of course, Unpack with the Neck. We just did it, and we got ourselves a 2020 signed DeGrom today.
Ooh,
we've
nice.
been pulling some good cards from Unpack with the Neck, and I'm glad you guys are enjoying it. Thank you so much. We appreciate the love and
Hopefully
everything,
no more
guys.
referees.
Yeah, you kidding me? I want more. I want more of that craziness. But, yeah, that's everything you guys can find us at.
Yeah. You can find me right here Wednesdays and Thursdays doing this show, and on Instagram at d.gwil25 and Facebook at Drew Gwillem. I'm not going to run through everything. You know where to find all the other shows: Blow the Whistle, Monday Motivation with Hannah B, 102.3 XLC, 96.7 for her. Check us out on Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, if Mark Zuckerberg will let us play along.
Yeah.
Instagram, email us.
We're everywhere.
We're everywhere. And you can find us on our personal social media as well if you can't find us there, and we will fill you in more.
Absolutely.
Like I said earlier, we won't be here tomorrow. Everybody have a great weekend. Thanks for listening, watching us, however you take us in, because we can't do this fun stuff without you. Well, we could do this without you, but it wouldn't be as much fun if we weren't talking to anybody.
Absolutely.
So thank you for taking us in, however you have. Safe weekend. See you all next week right here on the X-Bomb Sports Live Show.